That was my. All right, great. So, our plan for today. As a front for having my back to you guys, but our table is kind of limiting what we can do and how we can do it. There we go. If everyone on the line can just stay muted, that would be great. Hopefully the recording isn't capturing all of this stuff, it's just the screen, but I'm not sure. We're gonna walk, let me start with, I'm Adrienne Hubbey. I'm the current chair of the Fee Simple Villa Executive Committee. Amethyst Johnson, for those of who have not had the opportunity to meet her, she is the CAS/associate who bought CAS property manager for our group. She's also the property manager for the Villa condos and a couple of other non-Bay Forest places. So when you have a work order, she's the one who's overseeing it, working on it, talking to you, following up, and all of those things, and coordinating the contractors. We have with us today Claudia Janikowski, Joe Butchell, did I still say that right? And Mike C., who are also on the committee. The three of them focus on work orders as a little subcommittee, subtask. And part of the feedback we got from some of the calls that occurred about a year ago, in that ballpark, was probably what it was getting more education out for everybody about what's covered, what's not covered, and how you do what you do. If you have something that's not right, if you need questions answered, how do you go about doing that? So the purpose of today's meeting is to bring up, here's some of that stuff, where it is, how to get to it, and then I'll hand it over to Claudia, and she's gonna actually walk you through the work orders and stuff. So, without much ado, we'll get started. There are still people joining, so I will continue to let them in. The main page is the page that we're showing on the screen, is the Bay Forest website. To find, now we got a couple of chat questions in there, audio is breaking up. Okay. We'll try to, they want me to talk slower, which isn't my forte. I'll do what I can to talk a little slower.
I would invite anybody to come up.
Maybe we can pull the OWL speaker from over there, the far end one, to here, and put it on this corner. This is the page, if anybody goes and looks to do anything within the community, this is the page that you go to. There are actually a couple of different ways that one can get to the documents that tell you about what is covered for our Fee Simple Villa units. Remember, there's also the Villa Condo, which is a condo association, and their documents are separate. They have their own login and their own condo association website that they manage stuff with. So make sure you're in the right spot, that you're a Fee Simple Villa. From this page, as with many websites, you can get to information in different ways, the same information. So one of the ways to find out about our contract stuff is to go to the community pages and the governing documents. For the people on the phone, am I talking a little better? Is it not breaking up anymore? And I can't see you, so if you can respond in the chat, that would be great. In the governing documents, there's all kinds of stuff in here. But what you'll see is the LAC community codes. LAC meaning local area committees, I believe is what that means. Fee Simple Villa is here. And you will see the list of all of the different iterations of our code. This one here, the fifth one, is the most recent one. And you can, it's a PDF document that's been filed with the recorder of the deeds in Sussex County. So this is our official document. It's dated the 20th of August of 24. So as of that date, these are all of our rules that we are following. This has a lot of information in it. And what we're planning to focus on today is the proactive, reactive repairs and replacements, and where to find what's covered, what's not covered, should you have a problem with your home. That is called, it's in section 4, article 4, I guess is what it is. We're gonna go down to that. Article 4 of this whole document is maintenance responsibilities. And this has gone around several times in the past few years for adjustments and tweaks to it. There's a list here of what's covered. The last time we went around with this document, we made the decision to add, this is all of these, more clarity to it is what we call it. And for those of you that look at all of the emails that come out from CAS and look at all of the documents, you might have seen this. Some people we know get a lot of these emails and don't always look at all of them. But there was a 30-day review period prior to that August 20th date where we sent this out. So that would have been, probably sent this out 8 or 9 months ago. And we added in here, a maintenance policy. And this is where we're gonna go through, I'm just showing you the parts of the document right now. There are basically 3: proactive, repair, which I call reactive, and replacements. Those are the pieces that are covered in our maintenance code. And then down here is the policy around each of those. And it goes into all of them. So this is what we're gonna walk through briefly here, and then Claudia's gonna take you into what, how to do the actual work orders.
Just make a comment about this.
Yes,
So that whenever something is due for a change, or there needs to be a change to this document, that's what the 30-day comment form is all about. So if you see that, you'll see what changes are being made. It's usually red lines, so you'll see what's being added or deleted. So it's important that you look at those 30-day comment sheets, and if you have anything to say at all, that's where you put it and you send it to the board.
even if your comment is, you have your comments, that you've looked at it, and you don't have any concerns about it, it is useful for us to get that feedback. It's helpful in that we know that a good number of people at the time took a look at the documents and look them over. You know, sometimes there are very few people that actually give us feedback, and we don't know if that means everybody else looked at it and had no feedback, or if they just didn't look at it. So one of the things I did mention was from the main website, there are many different ways to get to things. So this was the community pages, governing documents, LAC community code. You can also go to, for residents, committees. We are all part of the Be Simple Villa Owners Committee. And in this committee, there are a variety of informations, like the notices for us that the Amethyst sends out about the meeting we're having right now. There are also documents in here. And somewhere in here, the legal documents. This is the same list that was in the other space. It's the same document. It's not a different document, it's just posted in both places. So just want to point out that whether you're getting to it from the community page governing documents, or whether you're getting to it from the residents committees and the Fee Simple Villa Owners Committee, it's the same document. So I'm gonna take a brief pause here and see if there are any questions about getting to this stuff on the website. Anybody on Zoom? I closed my Zoom picture window, so I can't see you guys, so you'll either need to chat or take yourselves off of mute if you wanna talk. On, and then what we want to go over briefly next is what's covered. And we tried to break it down into the three main parts. And I'm not gonna read all of this stuff verbatim, but my goal out of this, the committee's goal out of this, is that you guys know where to look to go find what you might have questions about. So proactive maintenance. Typically, they're the periodic things that we do to try and keep our houses from either not entirely looking in disarray, but from having issues that could occur if we don't do them. So we do gutter cleaning twice a year. We do painting and caulking. We do power washing. That currently is on a 3-year cycle. A third unit is done every year, and usually the third year around, and that has changed over the years. That's the current policy for what we do. And then there's snow removal for the driveways and the walkways. But keep in mind, we do not do the sidewalk. So if you happen to be a villa that has a sidewalk in front of your house, on your street, that is not done. Proactive maintenance, pretty straightforward. Then we have repairs. These are the things, basically I think of a repair as something's broken. A shingle's falling off my roof, the siding's flapping in the breeze. I got mortar that's crumbled and falling on things, my gutters come off of the roof and it's unattached. These are the things that are included in the repairs. Then we have replacements. Repairs and proactive maintenance are all part of our operating budget. The capital reserves is where the replacement budget is. So we're all gonna get our roofs replaced, we're all gonna get our siding replaced, we're all gonna get our cement in our driveway, our front walkways replaced. All of those things that we're gonna get replaced, we're all gonna get our porch lights replaced. No, that's not. There is a study that we do called a reserve study. It's the same thing that the board does for all of the amenities that we have. And at some point, this building's gonna need a new roof, or it's gonna need to be, the doors are gonna need to be replaced. End of useful life is the term that's used by the companies that do these reserve studies. And we did one about 18 months ago. And we'll probably do one, not this summer, but probably next summer. It'll be about a 3-year cycle, which I think is our requirement that we go revisit it every 3 years and do a refresh. That's what drives the budget for the replacements. And that reserve study, if you are so inclined and want to go look at it, whoops, we've got somebody else coming in, is also available in the residence. Don't like your mouse in with this.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. Committees, Fee Simple Villa. And if you go into the documents. Looking for it, which tells me we need to do a better job of organizing this page. It's under financials, kind of makes sense because it definitely impacts our financials. And then you can see that 2017 there was a reserve study, 2019 there was a reserve study, 2023 there was a reserve study. And you can look at these studies. And these studies are what guide our budget line item as to, these are the expenses by year, sorry. That's, let's go. They're what guide our budget and our line item for capital reserves that we put money into every month. And then it's probably, of course, the third document that I will open. Here we go. So this is a sampling. Actually, it's not a sampling, it's the changes in the cost. And this has to do with construction costs. As you can see, there was a big spike in 2020. I think we all know that COVID took a major hit on all of this. Year of the study, how much we have in the reserve accounts, what the study period was for, which is 30 years. The inflation factor is 3%. All of these details are in these reports. You can also see the estimates in here as to the cost that they anticipate we will have to spend when it does come time for us to replace things. So some of these documents are smaller than others, but you can see the useful life for concrete driveways is 25 years. You same with the sidewalks. Any kind of details that you guys have about when is X gonna be replaced, when is X, what's happening with this? Some of this information you can find in here. It will tell you that in 2023, when we were looking at the roof useful life, we accelerated that by 5 years. We know that there have been some roof issues for installation, and it was something that we made a conscious decision to accelerate that by. We'll be doing this again next year. We may have another conversation depending on how we think our roofs are doing. The coach lights, I believe, start in year 26 or 27 getting replaced. So we should start seeing some prettier lights out there. Back to our document. So that is replacements, and again, there's a list in here that covers what's replaced. And then at the bottom of the policy, there are the exclusions, the things that are not covered. You know, sometimes it's easy to say we're covering this, but that doesn't always help you if you're uncertain about something. So there are things that are not covered. The sheathing, trusses, or structural components of a roof are not covered. Anything that you have added on to your home or modified from the as-built delivery that the initial settlement occurred. So if you add on a screened porch or a third, three-part or three-season room or even a four-season room, those things would not be covered because they're not part of the as-built.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you mean the constructional components of the roof wouldn't be covered? What do you mean?
Trusses and sheathing is not covered.
Why is that? I mean, we didn't do that. That wasn't anything we added.
It's not part of the code. I don't know why, but it's, sheathing has never been part of the code, trusses have never been part of the code. We replace roofs.
Those are good part of a major renovation. They're not repairs. If a truss broke in your roof, just like over here in the grill room, that was a major reconstruction. That's not something we as maintenance take care of. That would be a homeowner issue that you would take up with your insurance company.
I was told it's because it's considered part of the inside and not the outside, the interior and not the exterior, just like the drywall.
Yeah.
I might add too, that this is one of the things that went out on the 30-day comment review. about not covering sheathing. So I have to look at that kind of stuff when it comes out.
Right. Pop-ups, a lot of us have pop-ups, those are not covered, those are, you know, if you have a problem with them, those are something that the landscaper typically will try to assist you with for a fee. Of course, the water and sewer line, windows are not something that are covered either. If you happen to have a leak, and it's unclear, like, if it's coming from the window itself, like the sealants around the window, or if it's coming from the trim connected to the window, we'll probably assist in taking a look and trying to figure that out. It may or may not be something that's covered depending on where that leak is coming from, if you have that type of problem.
However, if I can add, some of the windows are still under warranty through 5Gen. So if you have issues with broken seals, which I do, then you just reach out to the company and they'll tell you the last for the label on the inside of the window with the serial number. And they'll tell you what's covered and what isn't covered as far as replacement.
And all exterior doors, including the garage door, none of those are covered either. So we then took the list of what's included in this policy and broke it down even further. And the gutter cleaning, you know, we currently have 2 gutter cleanings each year. Our current contract includes callbacks. So if you get your gutters cleaned, say April or May, and you're having issues in July, you put a work order ticket in. The Claudia's gonna show you that in a few minutes, and they'll come back out and they'll take care of it. And all of that is included in the fee that we pay for the 2 services we get per year. Painting is done initially after 6 years, and then every 7 years. The builder grade painting was not as good as what is being put on there now. So we were comfortable at this point in time doing this type of cadence. Power washing, as I mentioned earlier, is
Sure.
Using your pod.
power washing is done every 3 years. Looks like there's a question in the chat. Oh, sorry, I thought I did that. My name's Adriana Abate, and I'm the current chair of the Fee Simple Villa Committee. We recognize that power washing for some homes probably needs to be done annually. The fees that we pay for the Fee Simple Villa, you know, I call it the surcharge, so to speak, for our HOA dues, covers once every 3 years. If you need to get your home power washed in an in-between because you live by the woods or you have spray that's coming off one of the ponds, that is something that you could reach out to Amethyst and find out what company we use and reach out to them and coordinate with them to get it done. But again, that would be a fee for the homeowner.
We may be able to get a discounted fee if there are multiple homes during that time that need it. Typically, we work with the same people, so if it's a one-off, you'll pay most likely full price. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but typically what they've done in the past to accommodate us is we have a group of people that need stuff done in the off-season, they'll give us a better discounted price for the homeowners.
They do your driveways as well, so you could get both
Yes.
and probably get a discount as well.
Yes. I'm gonna try and go through the rest of this a little quickly because I know we want to get to show how to put in the work orders and the different things you need to take into account. Yes, yes,
I get the power washing,
yes.
I get the spray from the fountain,
Mhm.
and the back is has a lot of, whatever you call it, mold or
Yes, or
whatever.
moss, yeah.
So I don't know if they cleaned it before or not, but it's really getting bad.
So every home that's a piece of a villa home has had power washing done in the past 2.5 years. We accelerated year 3, it was supposed to occur this summer, I think is when they do it, or spring, till last year when they did it. So to ensure that 100% of the Fee Simple Villa homes had their house power washed.
Well, I had bushes that were really thick. It was protecting my patio and the wall. They trimmed it all down and there's no protection and now they're just raised. And it just gets worse and worse.
And those are things that when they're in the off years, that each of us as the homeowners, if we wanna take care of that, then depending on how bad it is, we should. It's something we have to,
If I don't do anything, there's a damage to my siding.
if you don't do anything and it's bad, it's a violation of the master HOA, and you could get a notice from the master HOA that you need to get
But
your.
I thought the power washing was included.
It is on a cycle, so we,
often is it?
every 3 years.
Every 3 years?
Yes,
Okay, 3 years is awful, a long time.
for some homes it's not, some homes don't need it but every 4 or 5 years,
So what
and
about,
that's.
something like that, where I right in the path of.
I understand, but we have to make decisions based on what's best for everybody and how much everybody is willing to pay. We put a survey out last summer, I think, maybe it was last spring, with some of those questions, looking to see, did you guys wanna take some of that stuff away and just handle it on your own? And overwhelmingly, everybody said, no, just kind of leave everything as it is. So that's what we've done.
In the beginning, we had it every year, we did, when we moved in.
So you, in the beginning, there was an email that went out asking you to raise your hand if you were interested. It was not on a cycle, and those that didn't need it and didn't get it, never got done.
But you could get it every
You
year.
could get it every year. But I also happen to know that there were some people that I've heard who did raise their hands and request it that were denied. So the better thing to do is we're all paying the same fee every month for power washing. That you put it on a cycle and we all know we get it done based on that cycle, based on that fee that we are all paying. That was the decision that was made a couple of years ago when we put that in place.
And again, the other option is just what we said, is there are multiple homes. I know we can't pay for it out of our operating budget, but if we have multiple homes, like 5, 10 homes, I can get you a better price with our main vendor. And we can deal with it that way. But again, I can't guarantee, but he typically does accommodate us with a discounted price for multiple homes.
So how would everybody know, if we get ours done, we pay for it off cycle because,
Yeah,
just to keep it nice. But how would everybody, I mean, can we email a Fee Simple Villa email and say there are a group of people that like, I mean, how would everybody know?
you
That
can, you can do
Yeah,
that.
okay.
You can also utilize the work order system so that I at least have that red flag of like, hey, this is what the concern is. Let me flag this. Now we have 5, 10 people on the list that have put in this a work order for this particular reason. Then I can reach out to our vendor, see what pricing we can offer the homeowners and go from there. Or again, you can utilize your main email address as well.
And he's very accommodating.
You have to use an approved vendor, or if 10 people want to use a power wash,
You
you
can
got
do whatever you
somebody's
want.
power wash.
If you're
And
paying
I got a
for
deal,
Yeah.
You're not obliged to use our vendor.
When they do that, they do the rear as well as the front, they do the
Yeah.
whole hat, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, snow removal, I think we all know about snow removal, we've had way too much this year already.
Question about the snow removal.
Yes.
Maybe it was covered and I didn't hear it, but, I know we changed to a new system where, and I understand a lot of people that are part-time still wanna have their driveways cleaned, I completely understand that, but it feels to me like the full-time people should be on a priority list. Because if I have to wait for somebody that isn't even gonna be here to have their driveway cleaned, and I can't get out until they.
So there are a couple of factors around that, we all pay the same amount of money. So if we try and start going in priority lists, I doubt it's gonna go over very well.
I can't understand why a part-time person that isn't gonna be here would object to having the full-time people be
The vendor doesn't give us the order in which they do things. They just go, here's your list of the homes you need to clear, go clear them.
It's also hard to determine who is full-time versus who's part-time. I know you all are, a lot of you who do live on site, you know your neighbors. But we have to consider the fact that we have to keep fair housing in mind too, especially from my perspective. So if someone puts themselves on the list, I will absolutely say, when I do put those snow lists out, please remember if you are part-time, please don't utilize this. And I did do that during the last snowstorm. But I'm not able to necessarily remove someone from the snow list
I
either.
think they should be removed. You know, I just, that when the vendor's given a list, it would seem to me it wouldn't be that hard to say these are the full-time addresses and. But.
So if a vendor's on a street and there are 4 houses and 2 are full-time and 2 are part-time, it's not cost efficient for them to do the 2 full-time and then come back and 4 part-time.
We also don't have it in our contract where we can dictate where they start and where they begin, where they end either. We don't have it in our contract with them where we can essentially tell them where to go street to street and home to home. They have control over their operations.
Repairs. This is the laundry list, roofs, siding, the masonry, the vents, the vent assembly, gutters and downspouts, the trim boards, the soffits, the coach lights, the shutters. I think Cedar Wax is the only one that has the shutters, is that right?
I'm sorry.
Shutters, you guys are the only ones that have shutters.
Yeah.
Or Cedar Wax, right?
Shutters are covered, I believe.
No, but like, there's only,
Oh, there's very few. I think there's like
yeah,
30 something or 17 pairs. The only ones that really have it are on Cedar Wax wing and the ones that have the brick in front row. There's, but they've had to be reattached and that's all been, we swept through the neighborhood and reattached.
so you may not have a shutter, but there are a couple of folks in here that do have shutters and those are covered if you are in front of them. The privacy fences are covered.
Adriana, do you want to just take a minute and address siding that has been damaged by the
Warping.
lawn mowers and
Right.
and how that works?
So that is a good point. And it's actually in here in the policy. If the siding is cracked due to the landscaper's equipment, oh, I do a terrible job with this pen. You can put a landscaping ticket in, which again, Claudia's gonna be able to manage, she'll show you these different types of tickets. And indicate that, say they're weed whacker paid, which is usually what it is, and they got too close and they broke the siding on, it's usually the bottom row of siding that we do. They'll come out and fix it, they'll take care of it. That is slightly different though, than you've got a piece of siding that's higher up, that's coming off, that is a piece of full bill of repair. Thanks, John. Replacements, again, I think we covered this pretty well. This is the capital reserve fund. And so that's the code. I am going to turn this over to Claudia to just make sure that all of my chats and my things are good here. Great. She is going to take you through the homepage on the Bay Forest website and put it, yes, sir.
Just a question about the exclusions to the repairs. You have water and sewer from the shut-off valve. Can you just clarify what that is? What do you mean by that?
Outside the house stuff is not covered. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes.
The water shut-off valve, water and sewer lines are not covered. Where is that shut-off valve? Is that the thing that comes out of the house?
The shut-off valve to the house, in the house, the shut-off from the street is in a box. So there's 2 shut-offs, however, we would be homeowner responsible for any damage to a line from the street or the shut-off box, which is very close to the street, into the house. So through your garage and through your wall, as you wish.
And they're not uniform in each house, there are different spots.
Yeah.
So you have to try and find it, use like,
So,
I have a Severn model and my.
so as an example of the damage, what could be an example of the damage? Crack pipe or damage from digging?
Battery damage.
Yeah.
I mean, have we had incidents of that?
I don't know if we've had that
Yeah.
either.
If I ask, you all get in the mail, I'm sure,
We've had,
information.
That's through home
we've
service.
had the irrigation lines crack and create all kinds of water problems, which would probably be something similar, but that's not the sewer.
No, we've had the external faucets go bad, a lot of the external, the spigots needed new ones, because they put in cheap ones.
Did someone on the phone have a question or comment?
I like the comments in the chat. Is it the green bar? Yeah.
Yeah, did you just read? It's not here.
I don't know.
Okay. They should pop up.
Okay. So has everybody logged in to put a work order in? Yeah. Yeah. I gave out instructions that have a screenshot on the second page so that you may not remember what I'm gonna show you today. So you can use these, and if anybody online needs the, instructions, we can get those to you. Look, you, the homeowner, is responsible to put in your work order, your own work order. Step-by-step instructions are, we're logged into the website. Where we are, let's go to,
I think you wanna go over to the residence thing on the right, or my account.
yeah, there it is, sorry. We go to online forms. If you follow on the screenshot, you can see the arrows that point you in the right direction. So online forms is where we go, far right under residents. And you'll see a list of maintenance request online forms. The first one says maintenance request Bay Forest landscaping. This is what you would do for any landscaping issues that I don't think there are any landscaping issues that would come under the FSV.
There were not.
So any issues with your lawn whatsoever, that's the work order that you want to complete. Maintenance for community amenities, if you are a user of the barn and you see an issue, that's what you would do, put in a work order for that. Here we go, the third one down says maintenance request, fee simple bills, right here. We click on that. You just follow the blocks. So the best contact number, your address or problem. Please describe in detail attached photos. It's always best to give as much detail as you possibly can. And if you can take photos, it makes it that much easier for the contractor who's gonna complete the work. So there are instructions to attach photos, and we'll get to that, but
Can you
first,
make that a hair bigger? Do you know how to make that a little larger?
You know, control plus.
Control plus,
well,
yeah, maybe one more. There you go.
better,
Just so that people in the room and people on the screen can take a look and see the fields you're filling out.
okay, so then you check off what your issue is. So you have an issue with roof shingles, gutters, downspouts, or siding, or your trim. Again, this would not be if the weed whacker breaks it, this would be if your siding is loose or the trim. Exterior support columns, stone and brick, that would be your mortar in between your brick to grade. Porch soffits, vinyl privacy fence, which we all have in the back, right? That's that wall that separates you from your neighbor. Exterior light fixtures, driveway pavement, concrete walkways. So let's just say that my siding is loose. Now. I mean, I feel like the easiest way to do this is on my phone. And you take pictures, so I would do it live, I would pull this website up on my phone, I would go out and I would take a picture. Or you could take a picture and save it to your computer and then upload it that way. The instructions are in the links that are on these, on the pages that you have, so it'll show you, there are 2 live links, which I don't have, you have to get those off that instruction sheet. And that tells you how to upload pictures if you're saving it to your desktop. If you choose to, this tells you how you can do it. So if you choose to take a picture that's saved, does everybody know how to save a picture to your laptop? Yeah, pretty much. It's like a document, but you would just save it in a JPEG format.
It kind of tells you in this bottom paragraph.
Yeah, it does, and there's also a couple links in there. We can send these instructions out electronically too, and that way the links will be live. So you would just pick a picture, and I'm not gonna take one off of Amethyst's computer, because I don't know what would pop up. But where's the part here where your phone is, it's not showing, where you get to choose?
What you looking for?
Usually when you click choose file, it gives you an option, take photo, upload photo from your laptop, or from your library, which would be on your phone.
On your phone, it's gonna give you that option. I don't think it gives you that same option on the desktop. Cause
Okay.
you have like a file like this is my F drive, so
Okay,
you
so,
wouldn't have that same
okay, so
option,
if
yeah.
you're using your laptop, not your phone, you have to upload your picture. Okay, if you're using your phone, those are the choices that pop up, so it would be from another source, which would be your laptop, from your actual phone, or from photos that were already taken. So you can physically go out there and take a picture of the problem, and it'll save it to the work order. I'm gonna here. And then all you do is submit. And once you submit, I'm gonna send this in after this, just delete it. It acknowledges that you sent in your work order. If you wanna check the status, you'll get an email right away, and it'll say we've received your work order. If you wanna check, I don't know if you would have, we're in Adriana, so.
Yeah.
So go, I went up to my account.
There's stuff in there.
Okay, I went to my account. I wanna see what's happening. I wanna see the status. You go down to my activity. This is where it tells you that you've paid your HOA dues or that they've received. Oh, here you go. Adriana submitted a work order on February 4th. That's the one I just did. January 13th. There was a committee update. Work order submitted. So let's just view this one from September.
So these may not be mine because I'm also an admin for the work orders.
Yeah. Okay, it's
Right.
not.
So go back into the one that you just created.
Okay, let's go back.
I should let you plug in.
Sorry.
Just slide up to the first one.
Yeah.
Yep, and do that one.
Thank you. There you go.
And then if you click view submitted, yep.
Right here. It's gonna show you the work order that I just completed. That's contact number, address, issue, citing and trim, and then photos would have come up here if I had uploaded or taken them. The only thing that you have to really do, you have to be careful when you submit these, is don't always submit that first one, which is for the main HOA and landscaping issues. And secondly, describe your issue and, just lost my train of thought. Oh, make sure that you check the correct box. Tell us where the issue is. It's all the ones on here that said, that listed all the issues, whether it was landscaping or roof issues or shingle issues. Then that, I mean, will it take it if somebody leaves that block empty?
Yeah, I'm still gonna take it. I think it
Oh,
will.
it'll
No, I
still get
think
submitted.
no, I don't think it will. I think you have to choose a category. I think that's just not part of it, but even if it's the incorrect category, I'll assign the proper vendor. So you can assume it might be one thing and then we might, oh, it's actually this instead. I'll just make sure to assign the correct vendor. That's where my knowledge comes in.
But it would be less work for Amethyst if we checked the correct box.
Correct, yeah.
Claudia,
Yes,
I would just add, when you're doing the description, be as specific as you can in the location.
yeah, I just,
You know, front, rear, lower, upper, right, left, facing the house from the street. Anything you can give them would really help.
and also I think if you wanted to, correct me if I'm wrong. If you wanted to send a note to the contractor, I'd like to be there when they come, or,
Yeah, put that in there. And the contractor, when this is signed, they read exactly what you put in as well, which is why it's really great to add the photos and be as detailed as possible, because I read it, I know who to assign based off of what the information is you provide, and then that contractor also gets all of the information you just provided as well, because they now have that visual to see it as well. So as detailed as possible, as many photos as possible, and they'll know exactly what, and include your phone number if you want to be contacted, the vendor will contact you.
put that in the.
For example, if it's a masonry one, that's in usually different spots, and we wait until we have a bunch of them, but you can go out and put blue tape where it is.
Yep.
Take a picture, don't worry about the blue tape coming down, they still have that picture to show them the different spots
Yeah,
where the masonry is.
Yes.
You know, even if it's not done right away, which generally they're not.
And they aren't because the contractor likes to do,
he likes to take multiple
At
at a
least
time.
five.
Yeah.
At least five in the community.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be five peaceable villa, because the villa condos use them also, so as long as there are 5 repairs. that's
even
kind
if
of
it's for the mate, like if
Yeah,
it's for
the main
something up
stuff.
here too, he'll do it, yeah.
Mike, did I miss anything? Mike, see?
that one.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, no, you're good. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? You can always walk back in and check. Now, I had no acknowledgement other than the automatic of me submitting that work order, but you can actually go in
I
there.
got an email,
Did you?
thank you for submitting work order, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Okay, so see, it goes to the committee too.
No,
the homeowner.
I'm the homeowner,
Oh, you're logged in.
yes.
Okay, good.
So you should get the acknowledgement on the screen, you should also get.
Yes,
If your notifications in your CAS or whatever account setting are set up to do that. So once you close that and go back over to the my account thing.
And
No,
when
no.
do they take that? I can't remember.
What it is.
Oh, no, when it's completed,
No, along the way.
yeah.
along the way, okay. Okay, hold on, I'll bring it back up. I'll bring it back up.
Alright. The question in more. So the process flow for the work order forms, there are usually always notes in there. And let me show you the next thing I want to show you. It's possible your U1, if your account is not set up to receive information. So in your settings, these are the email notifications you can receive. And text notices you can receive, and app notices you can receive. I have a lot of them on.
Turn them on.
Many of them, many people don't really have them on. So you may wanna go in here update to your post, I believe that's the one that has to do with, the work orders, not 100% sure. But you may want to go in here and look at, do you have the committees that you are a part of on? Do you have the association information on? To make sure that you're getting, oh, I just don't like your mouse. It's me, not you. In your activity here, if you go in, and I'll bring up a sample to show you guys. These are new. I'm gonna slide over and pull up a work order for somebody else.
You can actually do this on your phone too, if you wanted to follow along now, so you don't forget when you get
So
home.
here's a sample of what a work order looks like that Mr. Williams here in Green Lane put a work order in. And it starts out that he requested this, and again, like we did before, you can view the submitted request. And then Amethyst changed it to processing. We all get notices about all of these changes. And the majority of the time, we get the notices in here. If there isn't enough information in here about what was done, oh, this one doesn't have it. Let me find one that has, we attach the invoices when they're done.
Look for something most recent.
Yeah, let me go back a little ways and see.
So they're attached for a couple of reasons. One, so that you as a homeowner have a record of the work that was done on your house in the event you ever need to sell it or disclose or, yeah. So
That's,
then the other, is so that you can see that it's been.
Yeah, because they've been there forever.
all right, so here's one from June, it should have an invoice in it, I believe. And it doesn't, of course. We are doing a better job of attaching invoices, and that is one of the reasons. Mike, is yours attached? To provide the homeowners with the information about what the vendor did, so that you have that detail. And of course, to a certain extent, we can only, you know, we can't force the vendor to, you know, write you a huge, here's an invoice. To write you a huge amount of information in there. But for the most part, they do a pretty good job. AMD is kind of the handyman people that the company we use right now, many of you probably know Mike. He'll write in there what he did on that invoice. So does that help answer the question that was in the chat about getting the details?
Adriana,
Yes,
are we not following up as soon as the project is completed with the homeowner for their approval?
That's in the works. That's your survey. So the purpose of the work order task force was to figure out what we needed to do for the homeowners to keep you guys abreast of everything that was happening. And Joan worked on a survey to go out. How far after, how long after their work?
We're at once a month, and as soon as we get January's, we're gonna
I
start.
don't think there are any closed work orders in January.
Hmm?
No, I don't think there are any closed work
No
orders in
completed?
January.
Okay, but once a month, we're gonna say,
So it was,
I'll look at the completed ones, and we've developed a survey, and it's gonna be just like a 5-minute survey, but it'll give us some pointers, you know, about your satisfaction with the work. And it will only,
Even before that, if the homeowner receives the invoice from us through the vendor, et cetera, that's their first opportunity to
if there's a problem,
acknowledge if it was acceptable or not
right,
to Amethyst.
right.
Is it already
So
been
I
paid?
don't know how well you guys are on the
Sorry?
call or able to hear, but we are gonna be attaching these invoices to your work orders. And if you get that attachment and something isn't right, you should feel free to reach out to Amethyst and say, hey, they said they did this and it's fixed, but You know, maybe it's only 50% fixed, or maybe,
Take another picture.
yeah, they did it. Take another picture as to what it looks like and let him just know, and then she will get them back out there.
So at the point the invoice is uploaded, has it already been paid? Or no?
Yes.
It's already been.
Yeah, I don't upload anything unless it's been paid, so, yeah. If you, do you want me to do it the opposite? Upload the invoice, have it reviewed, then pay?
I don't think we can dictate to CAS how they pay their invoices, they pay them based on the
We
vendor's
usually
account.
pay upon receipt, because that's what they
That's what-
typically require.
Yeah,
But, it can help us keep track of any like warranties or
yeah,
any bill backs that we may have, such as, plywood or sheathing, as some refer to. That typically will be billed on there, so that the homeowner also knows you've been billed back, or you will be billed back for one thing of sheathing as well.
So the
Hey,
first
Amethyst, this is Mike. Can you hear me?
yes,
Aren't you checking with the homeowners before we close out the work order and pay the vendor?
Previously, no. Usually, once I get the work order from everyone, once I get the invoice from everybody, I review it, and then I follow up in the work order. But I haven't actually, not recently anyway, I haven't actually reached out to anyone.
Mike, I think that's a result of Ruth's position going away. There's not enough people.
But it's not impossible to do, it's just, I can't guarantee a timely manner.
But you put a note in,
Yeah, I usually put notes in.
yeah, okay.
When do you notify the homeowner that the work order is closed?
Once I get an update from the vendors.
Prior to the invoice.
Prior to the, no, they give me the invoice upon completion of everything, yeah.
I don't know what the time frame is. Realize they want their money soon.
Probably within a couple days.
I
before
don't
you
think
get done.
it's like 24 to 48 hours,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
so your first notification to the homeowner, the vendor has completed the project. Should include a sentence that says, please check for completion and satisfaction.
Okay. That can be
That's
done,
an easy. that's
Yeah.
easy.
that can be done.
Anybody on the phone have any other questions? Comments, feedback? How about in the room?
Can I, just to clarify, like, when it comes time to put new roofs on,
Mhm.
they'll do the whole building. Like, I have a screening, I have a porch on the back, they will not cover that, like,
Is
that
it,
would be my responsibility.
is it, you put that on?
I put that on.
Right. Correct, but I have no idea how we're gonna figure that out yet. That is something we need to figure out as we get closer to that point in time.
Yeah.
It will, my gut, in your honest opinion, is we're gonna do it. And we're gonna figure out the square footage and figure out how much that portion is
Right.
of your cost.
Yeah.
Because it would be crazy to have you get somebody else to do it, it'll cost you a lot more money and it won't look uniform.
It would be the same thing for the extended driveways too, right?
Extended driveways, something like concrete poured more than.
Yeah. On my block, they do,
Probably,
yeah, just per foot, whatever.
yeah. When we get closer to that, we will come up with a way to do that, but my gut's telling me that we'll figure it out. In the notices that we send out to folks ahead of time and make them aware, here's what we estimate it's gonna cost to replace that portion that's your outlet.
That'll just be our duty with walking with the contractor we decide to go with.
Yeah,
Making sure we view each home prior before having it signed off and a proposal submitted to the committee for
Right.
review.
and know which ones are add-ons that were not installed by the builder. Yes, sir.
Could you talk about, are there cost limits on a work order?
Not at the moment.
There are cost limits as far as approval on my
Yeah.
side, but that's about it.
Yeah. Anything that comes in is less than, we set a $1,500 threshold, this has the authority to just proceed. If something comes back, she gets a vendor to go out there and they say, oh, it's only $1,800 to fix that. They send us a proposal, she brings it to the committee, depending on the urgency of the repair. You got a roof leak, we're gonna try and schedule a meeting if we don't have enough coming, executive committee meeting planned to go over it and vote on it. Actually, what we may try and do is do an email vote to try to get it even quicker. That's what we'll try and do. But as far as an upper limit that work orders are covered for, no, but at a certain point with a repair, the question's gonna be, why are we fixing whatever this is, it should be a replacement. And the other thing about a certain threshold, you gotta look at what caused it. Cause anything that's an insurable event is not covered. So, you know, if somebody's by the trees and we have a bad storm and a limb comes down through your roof, you know, these simple abilities are not paying for that. That'll be an insurance, that'll be insurance fund. Yes, sir.
I've heard people talk about, so let's say it's a roof leak or something like that. And it goes back to NV as improper work that they did. Yeah, how do you address that?
We fix it,
Okay,
we see it all the time.
Okay.
Um,
NV has no responsibility in that?
not anymore,
Okay.
The board signed off on that.
yeah, they got released.
Got released before.
Not our board, the big board.
October of 22, I think, is when their warranty extension would end, yeah. Which is another reason, as I mentioned, we accelerated replacing the roofs in the reserve study by 5 years. We're gonna kind of see how things go over the next, 12 to 18 months. To see if the repairs that we've done kind of satisfy, or if we're gonna continue to have some. We may talk about accelerating it again in the next reserve study. Don't know yet.
Yep.
It's frustrating. Yes, sir.
So like on the work order under the category of exterior light fixtures, what would that actually do?
If your coach light is not working,
So basically the wiring issue.
a wiring issue, it's broken, it's fallen off and, something, and like, then we'll replace it is what the repair for those are.
Or repair
Or repair it if it's possible.
And the coach lights are scheduled to be replaced until 26-27.
26-27 is the first set of homes. The oldest set of homes on Cedar Waxwing, I think is PD, whatever that 2012 settlement, original settlement date was.
But if yours is not working at all, put in a work order.
Yeah, put it in
But
order.
you should- That's still like, I guess we can put it around like a safety level, you should still be able to see that access of your home and have that viewable. So if that is the case, if it is an electrical issue, put your work order in.
Okay.
If it's fading, if it looks terrible, I'm sorry, they all are.
You're gonna have to wait.
And we are considering whether we're gonna replace them with black versus the same type of color that we have now, because I think the black might do better. All things that we, as homeowners in the same homes that you guys have, know about and are talking about.
Well, you guys can refer to the Villa condos, we're replacing some this year, if you wanna check them out for your reviewing and see if you guys like them and might consider it, obviously, it's just something to consider, but it's nice to see what your neighbors may have already that's getting replaced.
Yep, it's a good idea.
What
Yes,
I'm gonna do, can I make a suggestion?
absolutely.
The numbers on the homes. Can they be a contrasting color? Because if it's a 9/11 emergency, they cannot see the numbers from the street. So if there's a contrasting color such as black,
Yes,
is that possible?
Design review committee has already approved changing the numbers to black.
Okay,
They've already approved painting your coach lights to black.
perfect.
Not have to keep it as a bronze, whatever. But that's your vision.
to approve that.
you just said design area already has blanket approval.
It's approved.
So I don't know you guys for that, but,
You do not have to get approval.
Excuse me?
You do not have to get approval.
Yeah,
It's already
they said-
in the statement.
Okay, but it's your responsibility to change it.
correct.
Yes, it's your responsibility to change it.
And then the coach lights, my guess is when we started replacements, we're gonna probably.
If it changes, it has to look the same.
If you want to change your lights, let me turn this way and see if I can see the people on the screen. Or the numbers on your house, if you wanna make them black, design review has already done a blanket approval that you can do that. Same with the coach lights if you wanna paint them, just in case you didn't hear that. Obviously,
You're saying you can paint them?
we can, yes.
but then they're not uniform with everybody else, which
That would
is.
be
That's not a criteria.
No,
It's not.
The design review committee, if they have a blanket approval, I go out look for it, find it.
Remember, they said black, not any color.
Right.
Black, they said black, yeah. So I guess that's a way of keeping it uniform where you're not doing like a gold versus like, if you wanna change the color, the approved color is black and only black. And then once they do the changing coming up during the 2026 cycle, they'll most likely assess the color amongst Fee Simpleville as a community that they will decide with. And black may just be at the top of that list most likely.
Just a note, if you're going to do your own painting of numbers and color lines, make sure you select a direct to metal paint. Otherwise, it's like off.
Anybody else in here have any other?
Well, we didn't talk about anything inside the house. So
Correct.
I had a floor problem, which I've called MV, and there was only a year, right, warranty on it, right? So they gave me a number else to call. I don't know what my issue is, but it looks like my floor is wet. Like something's coming up from the bottom.
So that would not be a simple villa fee assessment.
So I go through my insurance. or-
Potentially, yeah, potentially, yeah. Nothing on the inside of that house is covered by any of the fees that we pay monthly into our bucket of money that we use.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody on the Zoom call have anything else you want to add? Questions, comments? Okay, there's something in the chat. The changes to communicated to the community about addresses and lights. According to Jay, the design review committee made those changes. So I guess we need to go look at the design review committee documents on the website.
Which are having a 30-day review right now.
Oh, which are out for 30-day review right now.
There you go.
So yeah, I guess you can go look for them on the website. Probably in here under policies. Oh,
Engage them in the community fee.
no, that's not it. Check the fees. So those are community-wide changes that would be coming from master HOA, not the Fee Simple Villa, but we can pass that along.
They do go on. Yeah.
And they usually are always communicated, they do a pretty good job about that.
So you did say in the beginning if there was any brick or any stone that can be replaced, like.
Repair.
falling out.
Yeah, they'll get the pieces back and put new mortar up and put it back in there, make it. I think it look less terrible. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you guys all for joining